At this time, I call the January meeting of the County Commission to order. We have with us tonight Reverend James, my pastor, and the pastor of the Martin's Crossroads CH Church, will give us our invocation and the pledge of allegiance to the flag by Commissioner Clyde.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we come into your presence tonight. We're thankful that we're able to come into your presence. Some of the smallest things in life we seem to take for granted. But if we've learned anything over these last couple of years, it's a blessing to be able to walk through these doors. It's a privilege and it's an honor. And Father, we don't take it lightly. So we come into your presence, but even more important than that, Lord, we ask that you would come into our presence. We pray tonight in this meeting as different subjects and matters will be brought up and discussed. We ask, Lord, that you would be here in the midst of us and that you would guide us and help us, Lord, all as we gather together. The psalmist said there's a blessing where there's unity. And tonight I pray, God, that you would cause us all to come into unity, regardless of our conversations, regardless of the agenda. In fact, I pray you bless the agenda. And I pray, God, that you would just have your way in everything that is said and done. I thank you for what the Commissioner Board have done in last year. Thank you for the work. Thank you for the dedication and their commitment to the responsibilities into this community, this county. But Lord, it's a new day. It's a new time. And now we need them again. And so, Father, I ask that you would give them knowledge and then give them wisdom to know what to do with the knowledge that you give them. I pray you remind all of us into the sound of my voice that you sit upon the circle of the earth. You watch all things. You know all things. You hear all things. And eventually, God, you'll judge all things. Until that time, Lord, I just pray that now tonight that you would just bless, meet the needs, Lord. I pray you would guide this meeting and let it be done in such a way that as you are watching upon the circle of the earth, that you'd be pleased. We ask your favor would be upon this body. We pray that your favor would be upon Lincoln County. And we pray that everything that is said and done going forward in this meeting, Lord, that it would honor you and show respect to you and to your presence. We don't only have 5 sitting up on the desk, but Father, we need to give you a seat. America will be much better. Lincoln County will be much better if we pull out a chair and give you a seat at the table. And that's what I'm asking that you do tonight. That you'd be honored, you'd be lifted up in all that we do. And we pray you would just have your way in this meeting going forward. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you're going to do. Thank you for blessing America. Thank you for blessing Lincoln County. We just turn this service over to you now, Lord, this meeting, and we ask that your will be done. And we thank you for it in advance. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I want to give the county's 2022 State of the County address as done each and every year at the January meeting. Commissioner Henderson, Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Clyde, Commissioner Tankersley, County Attorney Jackson, department heads, and my fellow Lincoln Countyans. It is a distinct honor for me to give my 30th State of the County address. To the members of the Board of Commissioners and staff, I look forward to working with each of you with your visions as together we will continue to provide the best possible service to our constituents as economically as we can within the budget we have allotted. The past 2 years have proven to be more complicated due in part to the unprecedented pandemic that has changed so much of our daily lives. With that said, I want to thank all county employees for keeping our county as safe as possible. Our public safety personnel in law enforcement, emergency 911, fire, and the Office of Emergency Services. They have not closed down, but have worked harder and smarter, oftentimes in uncharted waters, to provide our citizens with the services that are required and expected as we meet the guidelines placed upon us through local, state, and federal laws and regulations. Lincoln County has received approximately $320,000 from the state of Georgia COVID-19 funds that were used to reimburse county funds on most public safety personnel salaries. The county has received $769,280 and we're receiving an additional $729,280 within the next few months for a total of $1,538,561 in American Rescue Plan money from the federal government. This money must be spent according to federal guidelines. I will be meeting with Director Doss over the next several months to budget these funds for commission approval. I recommended to the board a projected cost and a budget to pay for updates to the Lincoln Center, built in 1987, some 35 years ago, which will include new floor covering and painting of the inside of the building, new LED lighting, improved heating and air conditioning, and upgrades to the restrooms and kitchen, as well as a 16-foot cover over the front entrance to the building. I've also presented to the board a plan including financing and additions to the Office of Emergency Service bays, which house the ambulances, fire truck, and rescue equipment. I plan to make a proposal to the Board of Commissioners to move in the direction of a full-time position to staff Engine 1 with a certified fire EMT certification. The first position will be proposed in the fiscal 2022-23 budget, which begins in July, for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, with an increase to 3 full-time positions over the next 2 years. Engine 1 arrives on the scene first in over 90% of all fire calls and is backed up by the 4 volunteer fire departments, and I commend all of our volunteers for their brave service to our citizens. In early 2021, the commissioners, along with department heads, spent many hours collaborating with different vendors concerning the county's option on various video conferencing equipment and the county's network infrastructure. We have completed video conferencing in the Public Works and the Commissioners' conference rooms and in the main courtroom in the courthouse. This equipment will allow staff the opportunity to attend online classes through the means of video. The courts will have the ability to have off-site hearings and discuss cases with attorneys without having to be in the courtroom. The Department of Corrections and county inmates will be able to use these services to reduce travel and personnel costs. The telecourt system and video conferencing came to a total of $18,652 paid for with the state of Georgia COVID funds and with ARP funds. We also began the long-awaited upgrades to the entire county network infrastructure. We contracted with Tyler Technologies to upgrade the new software for the Finance Department, Public Works Department, and Human Resources Office at a cost of $116,180, paid for with Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax 6. Computer network system update for all server-related software and updated firewalls for a cost of $30,000 was paid also with Splosh 6. We renewed our contract with Eagle View Aerial Photography for the upgrade to the county's geographical information system for 3 years. This also provides information to the Board of Tax Assessors, Q Public, and Public Works. The total cost of $44,259 was paid from the GIS budget in the general fund. The Department of Public Works, under Director Robbie Seymour, performed 1,348 building inspections, up 313 over last year. Issued 753 building permits, up 149 over last year. 81 new residential permits, up over last year by 38, or an 88% increase in new housing. The average house built in Lincoln County in 2021 was valued at $363,163. In comparison, new residential homes in McDuffie County in 2021 came in at 63. Wilkes County 10, Warren County 8. Our Utilities Division of Public Works consisted of water and wastewater completed construction on a water expansion with loan and grant funds from the U.S. Department of Agriculture in the amount of $1,992,000, which included water delivery lines to Lewis Family Road, Thompson Highway, Montego Point Subdivision, Indian Road, and Cherokee Country Club Road. This project includes 21,300 linear feet of water lines, as well as 2 additional wells that will be used to supply water to the county's water system. The expansion added over 125 new water customers during construction. The Roads and Bridges Division received funds from the Emergency Highway Administration Office of Systems and Safety Enhancement Program through the Georgia Department of Transportation in the amount of $333,000 for signage and striping approximately 80 miles of county roads in 2021. In 2021, Lincoln County resurfaced 11.69 miles of county roads. They were Meadersville, Lovelace, C.E. Norman, and Lewis Crook Road, with a total cost of $467,721, of which $316,573 came from state funds and $150,648 from the county's T-Splosh funds. Lincoln County also was able to secure $162,500 from Georgia Department of Transportation Local Maintenance Improvement Grant for grading, drainage, and paving Cherokee Country Club Road. The Office of Emergency Services under Director Casey Broom responded to 1,379 calls for services, including 87 fire rescue calls, up from 54 fire rescue calls last year. The E911 dispatch received 2,580 E911 calls and 28,993 administrative calls for a total of 31,573 calls to Lincoln County Dispatch. The county applied and received U.S. Department of Agriculture loan grant in the amount of $365,000 for the purchase of a new fire truck for the Office of Emergency Services at a cost of $364,200. This truck, along with Engine 1, will be stationed at the Office of Emergency Services headquarters on Global Drive. The county renewed the Code Red Alert system for another 5 years at a cost of $43,000. The Recreation Department, under Director Latrellis Glaze, hosted a successful summer program in partnership with Lincoln County Family Connection, where approximately 45 people participated Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Recreation Department also partnered again for the second year with Smiles of Joy Drive with Mr. Gift Hurst and Road Legend Truck Club, attempting to make as many children smile as possible on Christmas Day. A jumping pillow was this year's new addition to the Curry Carvin Recreation Complex, along with improvements to the outdoor basketball courts, which was moved beside the tennis courts, as well as new fencing and lights. The county renewed a lease with the United States Army Corps of Engineers for 67-acre tract of land for another 5 years at the Eddie Fletcher Park off U.S. Highway 378 at Soap Creek. Under the direction of County Extension Director Robin Stewart, the University of Georgia County Extension Office served 2,880 individuals through face-to-face meetings, emails, and telephone conversations, and submitted 113 samples to the University of Georgia laboratories. Extension Director Stewart held 56 educational sessions, primarily focusing on livestock production for new and beginning farmers. These programs reached over 1,700 participants from 9 counties, 9 countries, 15 states, and 107 counties in Georgia, and won multiple national and state awards. Lincoln County 4-H had 225 students enrolled for the program year and held over 55 club meetings, fundraisers, activities, and service opportunities. The Extension Office also received a $12,000 grant to fund the design and implementation of the Lincoln County Nature Trail, located behind the new Agriculture Center off Roland York Drive. Phase 2 of the Ag Building was completed last fall, with the first event held at the facility being the Lincoln County Soil and Water Conservation's annual banquet. The Lincoln County Library, under Director Kerry Pardon, served 12,426 papers. They received a grant from the Georgia Historical Records Advisory Council for $2,500 to continue efforts in historical preservation. They also received a grant of $18,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act for a new preliminary scanner to scan historical documents. Staff, computers, and software were completely updated with grant money from Greater Clark Hill Regional Library System in the amount of $8,568. They hosted 14 library-sponsored programs and events in the Dover Partridge Annex, with approximately 500 people attending. All light fixtures in the library were replaced in 2021 with LED lights. The Finance Department, under the direction of Director Ernie Doss, provided me with the 2021 year-end balances of all funds. General Fund, $3,233,906. Payroll fund, $30,074. Emergency fund, $296,080. Hotel motel fund, $40,913. Drug education fund, $34,410. E911 fund, $92,054. Family Connection Fund, $56,972. Jail Fee Fund, $16,865. Splosh 6 Fund, $1,205,814. T-Splosh Fund, $483,528. Solid Waste Fund, $471,013. Water Fund, $335,823. Water Fund Reserve, $317,557. American Rescue Plan Fund, $527,829. The FY 2021 budget was $7,222,162. The FY 2022 budget is $7,329,649, a 1.49% increase over 2021. The FY 22 budget for all funds is $12,981,989. As we begin the new year of 2022, I am proud to announce once again that the county's finances are in excellent condition. As always, I'm honored for the privilege to serve as your chairman. I look forward to working with each commissioner as together we continue to make Lincoln County a better place to live, work, and play. May God bless each of you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you. We will move into our agenda. Item 5 on your agenda is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there a motion that we approve the minute as sent to each of you?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Clyde. Any discussion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, and the motion is carried. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion that we approve the agenda as presented?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Clyde. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Number 7, departmental reports. Office of Emergency Services, Director Casey Broom.
Chairman and Commissioners, as always, it's an honor to be here this evening. You have my written reports. I have nothing to add unless there are questions.
Any questions to Director Broom? If not, thank you. The Recreation Department, Director Glaze.
Good evening, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
You have my written report in front of you. Do you have any questions?
Any questions to Director Glaze? If not, thank you. Keep up good work.
Is it okay I'll be excused to get back to my...
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I know you got some activities going on out there. Seven C, the Finance Director Doss.
Chairman, Commissioners, you have my written report. I don't have anything else to add to those reports. I would like to let you know that our Tyler project is moving along well. In 2 weeks, we'll be doing parallel payroll with them, so we'll actually do our regular payroll, and then the week after that, we'll be doing a faux payroll to make sure that the Tyler payroll matches up with our existing payroll, so that project is moving on well.
Any questions, Director Dawson, on finances? If not, we'll take it as presented. The next item, 7D, is the Department of Public Works, Director Seymour.
Chairman, members of the board, you have all of my written reports from Public Works. I don't have anything to add to those unless you have questions. I'd be more than happy to address those questions.
Any questions, Director Seymour? Thank you. Item 8 is a public hearing that we have to go into to handle matters from planning and zoning. Is there a motion that we go into the public hearing?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
The second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Collins to go into public hearing. Any discussion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known, saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion is carried. We in our public hearing. Director Seymour.
Yes, sir. On January the 10th, the Planning Commission heard the following request. The applicant is Sharon Kruger on behalf of Verizon. Map 48, parcel 071 on Highway 220 West, consisting of 40.31 acres, currently zoned A2 zoning, which is interior agriculture. The request is for a special use to apply for a 265-foot self-supporting telecommunication tower with a 100-foot by 100-foot lease area. You have the documents in your book that show the exact location and all the engineering. My board, the Planning Commission Board, recommends approval of the special use with a contingency that a permit not be issued for the construction of that tower until the double branches tower is up and activated as discussed. I believe it was in November's meeting here. So the recommendation is for approval, and that vote was 3-1, Chairman.
Okay, is there anyone here that would like to speak against? If you would, come to the podium, state your name and your address, please.
Thank you, Chairman Norman and Commissioners. My name is Ross Wheeler. My family and I reside at 4605 Georgia Highway 220 West. We're located about 1,500 to 1,800 feet southwest of the property proposing the special use permit. We haven't seen a site plan, so we don't know where this tower is going on the site. But I just have a recommendation that I'd like the board to hear tonight. We know that Lincoln County needs better cell phone service, and we are a proponent for that. What we want to share tonight is that we're not willing to risk our family's health and sacrifice our property values in the name of better cell phone service. There's some things I'd like to share with you all tonight. We are not concerned with the tower itself. We're concerned with the equipment that will be installed on this tower in the future, as Robbie had mentioned earlier. The reasoning behind our concern is the current radio frequency exposure limits that have been set by the FCC, the guidelines that you all are following and Verizon is following. All those guidelines were established in the 1990s. Technology has changed greatly in 2 decades, and I ask you all in the room, when was the last time you heard about wireless technology affecting a commercial airline's navigation system? Right now, there's currently a group of 250 scientists from over 40 nations. This group includes PhDs and people with a lot more acronyms behind their name than mine, than I'll ever be able to attain in life. This group is working with an appeal to the World Health Organization and FCC to look at these guidelines and have recommendations for changes. You all can see this information. It can be found at emfscientist.org. During the planning and zoning meeting on Tuesday night, the point was brought up that there's enough land in Lincoln County that we could add additional safety buffers to these towers and their sites. Some of the information is debatable. You know, you can go out there and you can go down these different rabbit holes, and it's like trying to get the bedrock on coronavirus. You may never get the bedrock. But there is a large group of people, 250 scientists I mentioned. You have to take some validity of what they're researching and what they're proposing. So all I'm asking the commission, the landowner, and Verizon to consider tonight is, let's put a cell phone tower up, but let's put it in a place where there's enough land and there's ample land that we can place this tower far enough from the families and residents in Leathersville. Let's add an additional safety buffer, because we don't know what technology holds. And I hold this akin to what DuPont did with Teflon in the 1940s. Y'all know that story. It didn't come out until several decades later until it was too late. So just think about it. We realize that placing the tower deeper in the property is an added expense. It costs more to get the access road in there. It costs more for Verizon. It impacts the landowner because they have to lease more land now to Verizon. But it's an expense on both sides of the scale here. We have an expense in possible health risks and land devaluation. This does impact land value, not on a taxable value, but in a desirability value, because this information is getting out. And when people look for potential home sites, they look to see, I'm one of those, and I was one of those 81 active permits. I chose Lincoln County because I wanted to be away from these type things. So I'm one of those, and there's other ones of us out there that look, say we don't want to be near this technology. That's why we choose to live here. So that makes your land less desirable. So therefore the value goes down. So just think about adding those extra limits to it. You know, let's go with what the FCC's proposed, and let's add an extra safety buffer to it. Just so we know we're not impacting our family. And I'm here concerned, I have a 4-year-old son. And that's where my position lies. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak on this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak against? Yes, ma'am. Come to the podium. State your name and address.
I'm Teresa Thigpen. I live at 4701A, Highway 220 West. And we live right across the road from where this site is proposed. And just piggybacking on Ross, you know, I moved to the country other than marrying Albert, but I did move to the country for the beauty of it. I got a picture looking out our front window, and if that tower is 200 foot off of the road, we're going to look right out our front window and see that tower. I didn't move to the country. I moved just like Ross did to get away from these things. I'm for better cell phone service too, but there's other things. We work off of Wi-Fi, get a booster. You know, I get it, and I understand that we need it. But also, I'm not a scientist either, and I can't speak on the scientist side, but I do know, and I've got a list of websites that I brought for y'all that y'all can read too. Just like the coronavirus, we don't understand the coronavirus, you know, because we're not doctors, but we believe what we hear. And like Ross said, we believe what we read in these scientists. They're valid scientists, and they know what they're talking about. We don't. I know that there's money to be made, and I know money talks. And I understand that too. But our health is at risk. I wanted to bring up the case of PP&G, where the water contamination was, you know, years ago. It took years and years and years to prove that. Have we really proved that cell phone towers are harmful? Well, on one hand we have. On another hand, you're not going to hear Verizon say that it's bad. That's their business. They're going to promote that. You're not going to hear that from them. We are concerned citizens, and just like I asked the planning and zoning the other night, please keep the integrity of Leathersville community as it is. I came to see water, trees, sunsets, and sunrises. I didn't come to see cell phone towers in my front yard. Preserve Leathersville community. Put it on. It was brought up the other night, if you have more land, it's going to cost them more. No, you're leasing right where that cell tower is going to sit. So it can be put on 100 acres instead of 40 acres. I beg you to look around and look at other land and see there is a lot more sites that can be used than this one. Thank y'all for listening to me.
Thank you for,
Do you have any questions for me?
no ma'am,
Thank
I don't. Anyone else here to speak against? State your name and your address.
My name is Greg Grant. I live at 1056 Feaster Lane, Lincoln, Georgia. Over the last year or so, I've reviewed the application process and stuff with the cell phone providers and stuff. Our county code actually it's written in our code that the fees were to cover the actual cost of reviewing the applications and to obtain expert opinions and studies, which as far as I know at this time, we've never had any expert opinions or studies done. So we don't really know about property value, diminishment in property values, health effects. We just haven't been there. I'm actually for towers. We need the tower, but I do think placement and looks, the biggest thing I'm finding or hearing in the community is everybody wants a cell phone tower, especially on their land, but they don't want it across the street. The looks, the appearance has been the big thing. Our code dictates what we put in our county. We determine what we allow in our county. I think really from this point on, a lot of these towers have been put up utilizing as little as the property owner's property as possible while diminishing their neighbor's property. So I think setbacks need to be looked into as far as the adjacent landowner, and we need to really start thinking about stealth towers. These towers are going to be continuously put up around the county. We're going to have them. And we're going to be moving into areas closer to our developments. And I'm sure the people around those developments don't want to look at cell phone towers neither. So that's kind of what I've been hearing from the people in the county.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak against? Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to point out that, our research, Verizon research, scientist research is valid, but they're kind of slanted, kind of favoritism because of who's saying it. So I ask you to research it. Hire someone to research it. According to the application in section 34-668 that is applied for when the tower is, one of the requirements is that y'all get expert opinions and studies. Have y'all done that? Do we have that in the application? There's money allocated for that in this county. So I just ask you, have you obtained any opinions or studies for y'all to prove to us that it's safe?
We have not, to my knowledge.
So shouldn't that be done as part of the requirements of the application?
Probably.
So can we get it done?
I don't know. I'd have to check into it to know more about it and what it is before we do it. I don't know.
Well, I printed this off online, and one of the application, it says part of it is obtaining expert opinions and studies. And a fee of $500 to be paid at the time of application for those applications. It's like up to $3,000 that y'all got to pay someone to come in and to study. So we'd like to see some expert opinions from maybe an unbiased side.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you want to?
I'm over
Anyone else that wants to speak against this cell tower? If not, is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor of this cell tower? If not, is Ms. Prager in? Is she here tonight?
She's here. That's fine.
Could you come to the podium and, do you have anything you want to say? State your name and address too. I understand you with Verizon, is that correct?
I am a vendor for Verizon. My name is Shannon Prager. I work for KGI Wireless. We're a vendor for Verizon. I hear their concerns. We have followed local regulations when submitting this application. And we looked at several parcels of land, including parcels of land for some of the folks that are opposing tonight. But we finally came to lease negotiations with our current landowner. We have followed all FCC regulations. We have followed everything in the ordinance. Verizon is here to provide better coverage to new and existing customers for faster data speed, mobile service, and E911 service.
Okay. Thank you. Director Seymour? Ms. Craig, you don't go too far. I might have to ask you something. A lot of this is the first time I've ever heard of sciences and all this, of all the ones I've ever sit through. Is our procedure, and you can probably answer better than Director Seymour, is our application and procedure that we go through similar or not similar to any other county that you've ever had to go for a cell tower?
In what respect? I'm not sure I understand your question.
I guess I'm asking when they are saying that the scientific part of it and
So we're regulating all cell phone towers, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, we're all regulated by the FCC. We can't do anything without approval from the FCC, whether it's constructing the tower or putting antennas on the tower. We have to follow FCC guidelines, which all carriers have done. And it's the same in any county, whether there's a tower going up in Georgia or going up in Alabama or Florida. We're all regulated by the FCC. It's federal. So it's all the same.
I guess what I want to ask you, if you do this in multiple states and counties, is our process similar to the other processes, or are we lacking somewhere in what we do?
It's all the same. We had to submit radio frequency, RF engineers, propagation map showing the need for coverage. We had to submit the application. We had to submit an inventory of existing towers and why they wouldn't work. What else? It's very similar to all other counties.
Thank you. Director Seymour?
Yes, sir. I will add that, Chairman, they are correct in the ordinance, in the part of the application, there is a section that speaks on if the county needs expert opinion or advice, we can hire an outside consultant to come do that, and we can pass that cost on to Verizon for up to $3,000. Doesn't specifically say anything about scientific evidence. Nowhere in the ordinance is there anything about scientific evidence with health conditions or anything like that, because it does follow FCC guidelines. And so FCC handles the health concerns, as Mr. Ross said, so we don't get into the health concerns at all. But if there's questions about the validity of the application, whether it's an engineering report that we feel, we can hire an outside consulting firm to review it, make sure that it meets what we are supposed to meet, and then we can pass that cost on to whoever the applicant is to up to $3,000.
Have we ever done that?
We have never.
Do you know of any county around us that does that?
I don't, no, sir. You know, this application, as others, have been pretty clear, and they meet or exceed everything in the application process, all the requirements. It either meets or exceeds what. Now, I'm not saying that we might need to go back and review some of these setbacks, as Mr. Ross said, and we've had those conversations before as well. But as far as the code sits today, this application meets or exceeds all of the criteria in our code section.
When I looked at it, and I think it's in here, but I looked at it on Q Public. Whose property is on? Mr. Hall's?
Alvin Hall.
Does his property come all the way to the state highway right away, or is it a cease in between?
Well, it does, but where the site is at, there's a piece of property between where the site's at and 220.
And I understand it's.
Or the closest point to 220 anyway.
But it's 200 foot off the road, or where's that 200 foot coming from?
It's actually about 200 foot off of the property line.
So you got that other piece of property that's in front of his piece of property where the tower's going. And when you get to his property, the backside of that property is 200 and something feet behind that.
Yes, sir. The actual road going into it off 220 is a little over 400 foot, but it goes at a diagonal. It goes diagonally. The 220 guy actually comes through here, and this piece of property is between 220 and the tower site. It's approximately 250 foot off of 220's right away.
And is that further than most of them, about the same as most of them?
Well, what the code says is that, where the tower sits, and we have to get structural engineering reports that say that the fall zone falls within the setbacks that are set in our code. And in this case, it does. It meets those setbacks.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So she meets all the requirements that the county has.
This one's actually further off the road than the AT&T tower that we approved on Ashmore Barton Road. It's further off the road than the Verizon one on Double Branches Road. This one's actually further than those are. Now, we've got some that are even further off the road than this one.
Thank you. Okay. We have a recommendation from the Planning Commission to approve this tower with the stipulation that was presented to us and in our recommendation. I'll ask for a motion to accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
We gotta come out of public station, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
I should.
I'll make
That's
a
what I
motion.
meant to say. You gonna make a motion to
I'll
come out
make a
of our
motion
public
to come
hearing.
out of
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Clyde, second by Commissioner Henderson to come out of the public hearing. All in favor of the motion, let me know, saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign, motion's carried. We out of our public hearing. We in our regular commission meeting again. And I ask for is there a motion that we accept the recommendation as presented to us from Planning and Zoning?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
That's second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Clyde.
this is in my district. I got some dear friends that are opposed to it, and I got a lot of folks that are for it. I got called the store several times and calls and a few things, and everybody complains about the service, and especially in that area, and a lot of them going, my wife being one of them, trying to go to work on that road. But anyway, I support it. I think we have to do things. I'm glad to see the recommendation that we don't allow any construction, as we had trouble with Verizon in the past, being granted permits and not do anything with them forever, and that we force them to go ahead and complete the ones that started first. That's part of it, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, so I do support it, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion?
One question, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Henderson?
Do we know how long it'll be before the Double Branches Tower comes online?
I do not know.
February 4th.
Excuse me?
February 4th, it'll be on the air.
There you go. It's up, it's completed, construction of the tower's completed, the antennas are on it, the lights are on it, power's on it. I guess they're just waiting on programming.
Yeah, they do the integration.
Yeah, so it's up.
February 4th is.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
I got one more question, real quick. This is one of those self-supporting and all no guide wires.
It is self-supporting,
All
yes.
right.
Self-supporting lattice tower, yes.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion, let me know, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion is carried, and it is passed. Item number 9 is Ms. Freeman. Ms. Freeman, if you would, come to the podium. State your name and address. They have not right down here to come out, but we ain't go through it.
It's easy to forget that.
It is.
Good evening,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Chair, to the rest of the board, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I'll make my
Ms. Freeman, before you start, as you know, we talked about it. You have 5 minutes to address the commission, Mr.
Yeah, I understand from my brother when he came a few months ago, he didn't get the 5 minutes, but as I told your secretary, I know because it's Denise Freeman, I get the 5 minutes.
You
So I'm well
get
aware.
up to 5 minutes. The county attorney will keep the time. Mr. Attorney, if you will, when she gets within a minute of that, if you would, let her know that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So you gonna let me know when it starts?
He'll give you when you got 1 minute, and then he'll let you. Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Chairman, and to the rest of the Board of Lincoln County Board of Commissioners, I stand before you because there's a Senate bill. Oh, you got me so, Walker, I can't talk now. But Senate Bill 282 and 283 that restructured our election board. Is that something that you all asked Mr. Anderson to put forth to the state legislature?
It was, but we want you to just address us. We're not debating on it.
No, I'm asking.
I will give you your answers, but go ahead with your talk to begin with.
So my talk and talking to you tonight is not making assumptions, but coming to you and asking you questions so that there's no deliberate misunderstanding. So you did ask Mr. Anderson to do that. So
Yes, the commission.
what was the reasoning for that?
That's taking your 5 minutes. You go ahead with your 5 minutes,
Okay.
and I will answer.
We would like to know what was the
I will
reasoning
answer it when you finish.
Mr. Chair, I hope and pray that you guys did a study as to how it would affect your citizens here in Lincoln County. I just heard the people from Leatherville make a suggestion as to how they have this tower in their community and they asked for a study. It seems to me that we give you our tax dollars here in Lincoln County and we ask you for the littlest thing, and that is to consider us, your constituents, the one who votes to put you in office or out of office. And you come to us during election time, but when you make decisions like closing every precinct except for one in Lincoln County, you didn't put it to the people. It was a decision that you all that was made without our input at all. So the people of Lincoln County don't want to go back to our parents and our grandparents' era when they only had one precinct. This is 2022. This is the 21st century. We should be doing everything in our power to make voting more accessible and not less accessible. We should be doing everything in our power to make sure the citizens that we have in this county who pay their taxes without getting anything in return. Some of us pay our taxes and we are yet to this day to get anything for the money that we pay into this county. So all we want is to be treated fair and just. We have people with disabilities. Did y'all bring that into account? We have people who are on fixed incomes. Did you bring that into account? We have people that don't have transportation. There's no taxi, there's no public transportation, there's no Uber, there's no Lyft. Did anybody think out the process before the decision was made? Or was this just a decision to empower you and not us? Because as a former elected official, I thought it was our job to educate and inform and be transparent to the people who elected us to office. Well, maybe that was just my idiocy, I don't know, but that's how I function as an elected official. Whether I was criticized or not, it's the right thing to do. It's 20 plus miles from most of my neighbors' houses where I live to get down to Lincoln, Georgia. Most of my neighbors and a lot of people in this county
1 minute.
don't even work here. They work in other cities like Athens, Augusta, Elberton, South Carolina, and around. And by the time they get home, they are fortunate to be able to make it to the precinct in their own community. So what you're doing, I'm going to tell you what I think you're doing. I think you're doing something that's terribly wrong. And I think that you think it may hurt a certain section of your community. But when you do things to God's people that ain't right, then God says, if you hurt just one, then there's consequences. He said for us to take care of the poor, the widows, and the orphan. That's our job. We're not supposed to stress them out now. This is a COVID. You guys had all of this set up in the time of COVID when we could not have hearings and public meetings and come out safe and feel safe and secure.
Ms. Freeman, your time is
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
We don't get these into debates, but I'm going to make just a short comment because I do want to answer some of your questions, Ms. Freeman, and I'll be glad to talk to you like we did day before yesterday. But House Bill 282 that done away with the elections board. Lincoln County didn't have an elections board until in the early 2000s. What happened was, and the reason that it disbanded that one, is that the word, Mr. Attorney, disband, or that's not exactly?
Abolished,
Abolished.
Mr. Chairman.
Abolished House Bill, Senate Bill 282 was to create a new bill, which is Senate Bill 283. It was brought to us and the Board of Elections that we need to stagger the terms of the Board of Elections, just as we did with the County Commission in the 80s. When you stagger the terms, you appoint, have many, in our case, 2 of the 5 to a 2-year term, and the others to a 4-year term, and after 2 years, they're appointed back, and then it catches up, and everybody's appointed to a 4-year term. So that abolished the old board. What happened was, once we asked that to happen so we could stagger the terms, Legislative Council, through our senator, called and said that we cannot do this legislation with the way that the people that serve on the board is appointed. The appointments to the 5-member Board of Elections was made, one by the City Council, one by the Board of Education, one by the Board of Commissioners, one by the Democratic Party, one by the Republican Party. At some point in time, a case between DeKalb County went to the Georgia Supreme Court, and it makes perfectly sense to me, but it said that we didn't even know anything about when we asked for this, that said a non-governmental entity cannot appoint to a governmental board. That's no different than if the Lions Club appointed to the board. We could not put in the legislation for the Democratic Party, Republican Party to continue to appoint. So it was changed that the city still makes one appointment, the Board of Education makes appointment, and the Board of Commissioners makes 3 appointments. And that's how the current is. So that's what Senate Bill 282 and 283 is. And that's how the people are appointed. So you still have 5 members, but 2 of them, and I don't remember which 2, but 2 of them were appointed to a 2-year term. And after 2 years, if they're reappointed, or whoever's appointed, be appointed to a 4-year term, and then you'll have your staggered terms. That's what that is, and I'm just going to make this one comment. The county commissioners does not vote on whether or not to consolidate or expand the amount of precincts or to do away with the amount of precincts. By law, that's left to the Board of Elections. The Board of Elections, however, did ask the county's support. If they did that, would the county commissioners support it? the county commissioners does support the consolidation of our precincts. We don't have a vote. I've told several news media today and the day before yesterday that we don't vote at this meeting. But we do support Director Bolton and the Board of Elections in consolidating it down, and we have lots of reasons as to why that was done. 2 public hearings were held in September, properly advertised in the paper, held at the Lincoln Center for public to come in and make their presentations for or against. That was done on 2 occasions. So public input was in place. So that is the procedure. The commissioners do not vote on the consolidation. However, there's no more questions. However, we are in support of what the Board of Elections is doing. The next item on the agenda is the farmer's market. Mr. Chamberlain. Mr. Chamberlain. Ms. Freeman, your time is expired. So you're through. Mr. Chamberlain, come to the podium. She would have to come. Now, I'd be glad to talk with you, but your time is expired. Yes, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Right. I'll probably take less than that.
And the county attorney will keep up with the time.
So I've started a committee for a farmer's market in the community, and we have 6 members so far to start this farmer's market. I approached Dr. Light. Dr. Light has approved that we could use their parking lot. There is no fee to be a vendor, no fee to enter. We want community to come out, sell their produce, their meat, their whatever they have. Okay, we have one that makes muffins, another one makes cakes. We have a meat guy that sells his meat. We have many other things. Our next meeting is on January 25th at 6 o'clock. I'm thinking military. At 6 o'clock at the library. The first farmer's market will be at March 12th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We would like to advertise with all the local churches, get everybody involved, and hopefully, did Ms. Freeman leave? This will help solve some of those problems with not being able to get a ride into Lincolnton to vote. We build a better community. So you do have a neighbor you can call up and ask for a ride. That's the main goal, is to build a community and also get people from being a vendor to hopefully some of them want to go into a brick and mortar here in town. That's all I got.
Sounds good. We support you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Item 11 is the Lincoln County Paws Renewal Contract. I know you noticed that Clerk McKellar is not here, as her stepfather passed away suddenly at her house yesterday afternoon about 5:30. So she was not at the meeting. Director Doss is keeping up with what we're doing for the minutes. Lincoln County Paws, one lady got COVID. The other lady was in Augusta that was called to come to the meeting, so they are not here, but it's repetitions that we do every year, that we contract with Lincoln County Paws to provide animal shelter and adoption for the animals of the county at $8,000 a year, which is $2,000 a quarter. Is there a motion that we continue this contract with Lincoln County Paws?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Tanksley, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion is carried. Item number 12 is the 2022 qualifying fees. You have that in your book. We only have county commission members and Board of Education members. By law, under section 21-2-131 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, we need to set the rates you have the list, but those are not running this year. I think the only two we got is the commission members is $36 for the qualifying fee, and the school board member is $35. And I need a motion that we do this because we have to advertise it in the Lincoln Journal.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Item number 13, Fort Gordon. We do this every year. We partner with the Development Authority. Mr. John Stone started this when he was the Development Authority. We joined the alliance to help with us getting better relationship with Fort Gordon, and I know we got a good many people that's moving here from Fort Gordon. The total cost of that is $5,000. We've always shared that at $2,500, and I'm asking again that we pay the county's part of $2,500 to the alliance. I need a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tangley, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Item number 14 is to file for a USDA grant loan for cameras for gym, jail, courthouse, public works, tax assessor's office. They're all in terrible shape. This was discussed at length at our work session. And what I am doing tonight is to ask that y'all give us the authority to apply with the U.S. Department of Agriculture for a loan grant over a 5-year period to pay for this at a cost of approximately $172,173. This is just giving us permission to file the application. If we are granted the application, it has to come back to this board for any other action. So I need a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Item number 15. We got 3 votes on this, I think. Director Dawson.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as I mentioned at our work session, SPLOST 6, which we had previously called SPLOST 2017, expired December 31st of last year, just a couple of weeks ago. And we need to start the close process for that, so I've got a couple of items, and the first item in your book is going to deal with the closing balances for the volunteer fire departments. We are currently holding $180,440 in our SPLOST 6 funds for our volunteer fire departments. We have 2 outstanding loans for those fire departments. The Loco Volunteer Fire Department has a loan that's outstanding as of tomorrow, $81,268.41, and Midway has an outstanding loan of $30,835.84, and the total outstanding debt is $112,104.25. The first motion that I'm going to ask for, Mr. Chairman, is that we close those volunteer fire department accounts and move that $180,440.69 into the main SPLOST account.
Okay, we asked for a motion to close that account. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Director Dawson.
Mr. Chairman, now I'm going to ask for a motion to pay off those 2 loans. The total loan payoff would be $112,104.25, and we would do that tomorrow morning. And I'm asking for a motion to allow me to do that.
Okay, that's for the Midway Volunteer Fire Department loan and the Loco Volunteer Fire Department loan. It pays off the building that T.W. Culler's building, the Midway Fire Department, and the
And
Fire truck is
Fire
the
truck
tank.
for Loco, yes, sir.
Okay, we have to do all this before you can close out Splash 6, is that correct?
Yes, sir, and I failed to mention that, that Director Boone and Director Seymour and myself met with all the volunteer fire, and Commissioner Henderson met with all the volunteer fire departments earlier this week, and they were all in agreement and comfortable with what we were going to recommend here tonight. I failed to mention that in the beginning.
I need a motion to pay off the two items as listed, $112,104.26 of Splash 6. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Director Doss.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that will leave a balance of $68,366.44. I'm asking, so in the past, we had allocated all of the the fire department SPLOST dollars equally among all departments, so they were split 4 ways. We have Loco and Midway have gotten somewhat of a greater share by having these loans paid off than the other departments. And so I'm asking you to, and again, we've mentioned this to the fire departments and they were in agreement. Of that $68,000 that's left, I'm asking you to reallocate 53% of that to Martin's Crossroads. That's what their share of the funds were before. That would be $36,218.31, and 47% of that to the Beulah Volunteer Fire Department for $32,118.13. We would continue to hold those in our account, and those departments would have access to those SPLOST 6 funds for the next. We have 60 months to finish our closeout, and all the departments were in agreement with that. And I need a motion to reallocate those funds.
Is there a motion we reallocate the funds to Martin's Crossroads and Beulah from Splash 6 as presented by Director Doss?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
And a second.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Tankersley, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Does that complete your
That
item
completes
13?
that one completed. It's one more page, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I got turn page right here. Go ahead.
Chairman, Commissioners, so that leaves our main SPLOST account. So main SPLOST 6 account has, we have $1,025,373 that remain in the account. Of that, we're going to anticipate receiving about $74,000. We will receive our December payment later this month. They were always 30 days in arrears. We will owe the city of Lincoln approximately $11,740 based on what we actually get. They get a percentage of that, and that will be the final payment to the city of Lincoln. And when I did this report, we'd already spent $28,575. That left approximately $1,059,058 that were unencumbered that could, in that account. We've actually already encumbered, as the chairman mentioned, the Tyler project. We have about another $108,000 on that project, as well as a computer replacement project for the county. So that leaves a balance of the project funds of $930,625. I'm asking the board to reallocate those funds to the following projects. $97,000 for the courthouse renovation project, $450,000 for road projects, $274,125 for general government infrastructure. We've completed all of our recreation projects, but if we needed any, we could do additional work out of the general infrastructure projects. $89,500 for vehicle replacement, and $20,000 for our OES rescue. And we're not allocating any additional out of SPLOST 6 to our volunteer fire departments, but there are still dollars that were already allocated that are available to those volunteer fire departments. And so I'm asking for a motion to allow me to reallocate those, that approximate $932,625 in funds to those projects, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a motion to reallocate as presented and printed of $930,625 of the Splash 6 funds?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
That's second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion on the motion? Chair is none. All in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Motorola, item 16 is Motorola Service Renewal Agreement. Director Dawes.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we currently use Motorola software in our 911 center to do, the technical name is telephony piece, but this is the actual software that receives and handles the 911 calls that are made, both landline and wireless. That contract renews this month, and we would like to continue to use that software. And we've asked Motorola to give us allow us to make annual payments instead of a lump sum, and so it is a $64,189.20 contract over 4 years, and we would make, over 5 years, and we would make 5 payments to that amount. I'm asking the board to approve that continued service agreement.
So what we're doing is we're gonna, this $64,189.20 will be divided by 5, and we'll make an annual payment for the
Yes,
next
sir.
5 years to pay
Yes,
for
sir.
it. Okay, is there a motion that we accept this,
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
that we renew? Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Tankersley. Any discussion?
One question.
Commissioner Tankersley.
No interest or fees?
No, sir, there's no interest to split these payments up.
Okay. All right.
Will they do that with every one of us or not?
We're hoping, sir. We're looking for that.
All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Item number 17, driveway permit order, second reading. Director Seymour.
Yes, sir. As you're aware, Chairman, last month I introduced Chapter 64, which is a new ordinance for driveway construction permitting. We had the first reading last month. We have placed the ordinance on the Public Works, on the county's website. Has been since the last meeting. And so tonight we ask that y'all have the second reading and then take a vote on adopting Chapter 64 into the Lincoln County Official Code.
This has been on the county website since last month.
Yes, sir.
I don't see any reason to start this reading, Mr. Attorney.
No, Mr. Chairman, the law says that if it's been available to the public for both meetings, and as Mr. Seymour said, it's also been available via the internet, then there's no requirement to do a second reading.
Okay. Normally, we would stop it after about 2 paragraphs anyway. Nobody's going to sit and listen to this 45 minutes. Okay, is there a motion that we adopt Chapter 64 of the driveway constructions into the county codes?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Tankersley, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Henderson.
I've had some questions, I guess, about it. With regards to existing driveways, I know we had discussed earlier that if somebody wants to, I guess, change the driveway, it would have to meet code. But what about maintenance? Just maintaining a driveway that's already in existence?
There would be no requirement to change anything if it's just maintenance.
I guess.
Typically the county, once a driveway is installed, the portion that's on the county right of way, the county has the responsibility to maintain it anyway. So, once that happens, we would, and that's what basically this ordinance does, is just really takes care of the portion that's on the county right of way and how it's constructed. So, once one needs to be replaced, let's say it's got a bad pipe, a rotten pipe, or a bad pipe, or it's clogged up and we replace it, we would follow these same guidelines for the new driveway when we replaced it. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I guess, pretty well. I was mainly concerned about ag like for a cow pasture or a hay field, driveways that don't get used regular, or in my case, timber driveways.
Right.
That wouldn't be used once every 20 years. How much work can we do to one before it changes from being maintenance to being something else?
Well, I think as long as you don't widen it or remove the pipe, replace the pipe, you know, if all you're doing is just maintenance and freshening up the entrance and, you know, let's say it's grown up or it's got silt on it and you're just doing that kind of work, there wouldn't be a requirement. But now if you're changing the integrity of the driveway itself, then it would need to meet the code. In other words, if you were going to replace the pipe or you were going to make it 5 foot wider, unless it's a temporary driveway.
Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, let it be known, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion carried. Item 18, striping list, Director Seymour.
Yes, sir. As you're aware, we did, and you spoke about it in your State of the County, that we got a grant from Georgia DOT through the Federal Highway Administration to restripe and re-sign a bunch of roads in Lincoln County. One of those roads that we resurfaced last year was not restriped, and that is Gill Point Road. And so I provided you with a cost estimate to do either 2 lanes or 4 lanes for approximately 2.2 miles of Gill Point Road that we've gotten some complaints about at night and not being able to see. So I'm asking the Board of Commissioners to approve one of the 2 of these items, whether it's 2 stripes or 4 stripes. My recommendation is 4 stripes, and it's something that we also talked about in the work session as well. Give me the approval to expend these funds, and these would be paid for out of SPLOST 6 funds, Chairman.
Also, that 80 miles of road we were talking about with striping with federal and state, with really federal money, we don't submit a road list. They ride the county, and when we know anything, they striping roads and signage them. We don't put that on a list. What happened with Gill Point Road, a couple of years ago, we resurfaced Gill Point Road, and it's no striping on it. Has not been any striping on it in 2 years. Prior to that, before it was resurfaced, it was striped. We've had some people to call from Gill Point Road, and that's the reason we put it on the agenda and feel like that with that 2.2 miles of traffic on that road needs to be restriped. As he said, we would, in the work session, it was pretty much agreed to that we would go with the 14,520, which is all 4 lines of the road. Give you an example of what that cost. It costs $1,650 per mile to stripe those roads, so it's pretty expensive on road striper. Is there a motion that we put all 4 lines on 2.2 mile Gill Point Road? It'll cost $14,520. Paid for out of SPLOST.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Henderson.
I apologize for not calling you earlier this week. I rode up and looked at it over the weekend to refresh my memory on where we were talking about. The remainder of the road, I don't really see any reason not to do the rest of it. Can we go on? Is there a way to add that now, or we need to
I don't think we got a cost of it, but if you want us to come up with a cost for next month, we can do that.
Well, I'd like to go.
Probably won't be striped in the next, before that anyway.
Yes, it's too cold really to stripe right now, so it's gonna have to warm up a little bit, so we'll have enough time to get the additional cost to go. I guess you wanna go all the way to Pistol Creek?
Well, mainly to the stop sign. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't make any sense to be riding down the road and all of a sudden the lines are gone.
Okay.
Chairman Norman, can we table this?
Commissioner Tankersley. Say.
That we table this until we can pick the cost?
We could
Let's do that. Ain't no use in
table
voting.
this, because I don't think we'd be doing it anyway. Okay, is there a motion that, we table this till February meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I think you already have a motion and a second on the floor to approve it, so you're gonna have to.
Yeah, you've already voted on.
You haven't voted.
Is there a motion that we rescind the previous motion on this?
So moved.
Have a motion to rescind, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Collins to rescind the previous motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Is there a motion that we table this?
So moved, Mr.
Is
Chairman.
there a second?
Second.
Got a motion to table from Commissioner Tankersley, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on that motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion's carried. Item 19 is the SCADA systems update. Director Seymour.
Yes, sir. The SCADA system is a system that we use to control the county's water system. The SCADA system has, for the better lack of terms, is small computers at each one of our sites, water tanks, valves, wells, one at my office. And so all of them use a radio, a data radio to transmit information to the computer in my office, which handles kind of the brains of the whole water system, tells valves when to open, close, wells to cut on, cut off, sends alarms when we have things that are going on. The radios that are inside of these small computer boxes at each one of these sites are antiquated. They are actually obsolete and you can't find them anymore. So I am recommending that we update those radios from a 5-watt analog radio to a 10-watt digital data radio at the cost of $19,800 to be paid for out of, I believe it's going to be paid for out of the water reserve funds.
We have a repair and replacement fund as part of the water reserve fund, and we can use those funds for that, sir.
Okay, we talked about water fund, but we're going to the water.
The water reserve repair and replacement fund,
Yes.
which is buried inside of the water reserve fund.
Yeah.
Water reserve what?
Fund. Repair and replacement.
That's a new one on me. Repair
And replace.
and replacement.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
the
a line
motion,
item.
the motion is that we approve $19,800 for the water department, water utilities office, to be paid out of the water reserve fund, out of repair and replacement. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Tankersley. Any discussion on the motion?
You got a question?
Commissioner Tankersley.
Director Seymour,
Yes.
are we having some communication problems with the 5-watt?
We are. We are in some of the low-lying areas where we have some of these radios. When it gets cloudy or we have rain, we do have intermediate problems with communication. Not only that, with a digital signal, it's a little bit stronger, and so it takes a little bit more wattage to get it there too. And so that's why our SCADA people that work on it have recommended the 10-watt. It'll cure some of those issues that we've been having because of overcast. And I mean, we're transmitting a 5-watt radio from, Double Branches, midway down Double Branches Road all the way back to my office. So yeah, we are having some issues from time to time. Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign, and the motion is carried. Item number 20. This will be two different motions, Lincoln Center and the OES building renovation.
Yes, sir. Since it's going to be two different votes by the board, we'll take them one at a time. The first one will be the Lincoln Center. As you spoke again in your State of the County address, there are some upgrades to the Lincoln Center that need to take place. There have not been any major upgrades or updates to the Lincoln Center since it was built, and I think it's some 35 years. Some minor stuff, but not any major stuff. So I'm asking the Board of Commissioners to approve a $70,000 budget for replacing the partition, the ceiling tiles, floor covering, painting, lighting, those types of things in the Lincoln Center at a budget of $70,000, Chairman.
Okay, if you look in your book, I know they don't. I know Director Bolton, I'd give this to you, but it's pretty coming off the front of it. It will have a,
Covered walkway.
We have a covered walkway, I don't know how well you can see that, with 6 columns on it that goes anywhere you won't get wet trying to get into the building, but it'll dress up the Lincoln Center, and a lot of the heat and air conditioning stuff, some of it's been replaced, some of it hadn't. Yeah, I mentioned all that, but anyway, this will be paid for, I think, did you say that out of Splash 6?
It would be paid for out of Splash 6, yes, sir.
So we are asking for a motion that we do this for up to $70,000 to be paid out of Splash for some renovations to the Lincoln Center. There a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Commissioner Tankersley, second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Collins.
In our work session, we talked, I think there was some question about the divider partition at 25,000. Did we?
Well, as of right now, I have not gotten the actual cost of those. We may have to come back to y'all to make a decision on that, to increase that budget if we need to. Yes, sir, I'm glad you brought that up, but as of right now, I have not gotten, I told you in the work session that I was supposed to get 2 prices, one for a new electric and one for a manual. I have not gotten those, and I did follow up today, and he told me he was waiting for the manufacturer to hit back with him, but I will have that to you. And as I said, that will be one of the last things that we will do anyway. So
If anything comes in over 70,000, it'll have to come back to the board.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Henderson.
Is this, I don't remember whether this was asked last week or not, but is this county employees doing the work here, or?
No, sir. We will act as the general contractor, and then we will sub out the individuals' things, and we've already gotten pricings on most of this stuff, and we've gotten pricing from multiple subcontractors. So it's not just one price, it's, 2 or 3 in some cases.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, motion's carried. And our last item of business is the Office of Emergency Services.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you know, this is another thing that was brought up in the work session, is the lack of space out at the new OES building for vehicles in the Bay Area. We got a budgetary price to do an addition to the OES building, and basically it would be 80 foot deep coming out of that same pad. We would take the 4 roll-up doors and move them out 80 feet. And the pricing is, and the budgetary figure that we got was above the state requirement for public works contracts. Therefore, I'm asking this board to allow me to put out an RFP to do that addition. And at that point, once we get the bids in, that will come back to this board for approval, Chairman.
So, as I understand what you said, we are just voting to put it out for an RFP tonight. Then we'll come back with new numbers to vote on to appropriate funds if we do.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, is there a motion that we allow the Public Works Director to put an RFP out on the Bay section? Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known, saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion is carried. Please don't forget Clerk McKellar and her family during this time of bereavement. At this time, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Boy, they got them going. Did a motion by Commissioner Tankersley, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion on the motion? Chair hears none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known, saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion is carried, and we stand adjourned.